the greatest wrestling match ever? Edge, Randy Orton at Backlash. Was it the greatest wrestling match ever? Probably not. Was it fucking amazing? Did it blow away my expectations? Did they check every single box? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That match was so good. Now, get a little nitpicky. I'm going to get nitpicky because I know there's people like, well, it wasn't a regular match. Shut up back there. I got guinea pigs. So let me just paint the picture for you. It started off with a cinematic feel. They did something very cinematic at Backlash. I'll get into that a little bit. But, they like played music and they dropped the lights and they actually used Howard Finkel's voice to introduce Edge and Randy Orton. Oh, Randy Orton and Edge! They had the MSG microphone come down. Charles Robinson, Little Nate, the referee, was in the old school blue button-up with a little button tie. Nice touch, if you ask me. I think the most controversial, the most debated part of this is they piped in crowd noise. Now, I doubt they piped it into the actual match in the arena. They probably laid the track on later because this was taped. Now, so they boos, cheers, this is awesome chants, all that stuff. Plus, they had the NXT people in the crowd. I think it's all still just NXT. I don't think they have actual people in there. I could be wrong. I have no idea because I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what most of the NXT people look like. Sorry, guys. But they pumped in crowd noise, or at least they laid over a track for the match. Now, as a pure TV presentation, makes it 1,000 times better. Makes you feel like you're watching a real match. And this felt like a big, big match. We all make fun of the greatest wrestling match ever tagline, but it did help hype this match. It did. As stupid as it is obviously they couldn't live up to that expectation. Nobody can. It did make it feel like, yo, man, what am I about to see right now? Like, expectations are so high for this. They've hyped this up, I'm ready. So that did work. Now, as a pure TV presentation, love the crowd noise. Really makes it far more watchable. Now, my only thing is with crowd noise, artificial crowd noise, is as an artist, which I am, cheers, boos, laughs, these are things you have to earn. Now, you can lay out a match. You can say, oh, this is the part where I fly off the ladder, go through the flaming tables, and the crowd should explode in cheers. But they might not. If they do explode in cheers, it means you're doing something right. If they don't, something you've done is wrong. So it's the same thing with stand-up comedy. Like, I could be, well, this is the punchline. This is where they should laugh. But if they don't, that means something I've done didn't work. So, cheers, boozers are things you kind of have to earn. But I think that's being really, really, really nitpicky. Being really douchey. I don't have a problem with it. I think it made the match better. The only thing I actually did have a little problem with, I only saw it 2 times. They cut to these camera angles that were basically underneath Randy and Edge, right up in their faces. And the only way you could have got that camera angle was for the cameraman to slip in underneath and them to do the move for the camera. So completely breaks kayfabe for me. I know, well, blah, 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 the Street Profits fought ninjas. Like, I know. But, like, little things like that to me kind of take me out of the match and go, oh, it's fake. Again, nitpicky. I think they only did it twice. I like the above camera shot. I like the camera shots from the turnbuckles. I feel like they toy with those things every few years and then they completely drop it. Yeah, that's getting very nitpicky. But, God, the match was just so good. It was so good. And, kids, let me tell you, these are the 2 of the best to ever do it. I mean, there were people I saw on the internet like, wow, they actually had a really good match. What do you mean they actually had a really good match. These are two of the best wrestlers ever. Ever. If you don't understand that, you don't understand wrestling. I don't, like, these people over the last few years have gotten this idea, like, well, if you don't do these ridiculous flips, and I see people like, well, they're not known as, like, mat-based technical wrestlers. Like, yeah, they're not. They're both 6'5", 240 pounds. They're huge dudes. They wrestle like huge athletic dudes. It's not something I should really have to talk about, defending Randy Orton and Edge and how good they are as wrestlers. It's ridiculous, honestly. Anyone who knows what they're talking about will be like, yeah, of course. What, are you kidding me? You know? Now, there was a question of how crisp would Edge be, and Edge looked great. He looked fucking great. He looked healthy, you know, and we know what happened. I'll get to it, but, I mean, I could not have been more happy with this match. Now, I know they allegedly, according to Dave Meltzer and other inside sources, because I don't know fucking dick. I keep texting Bruce Pritchard, but he just won't answer me. They actually reshot parts of the match. Like, they say, okay, let's go back, let's retake this move. And on one of those retakes, Edge tore his goddamn tricep, which is so awful. I can't even believe. That's like hitting a walk-off home run and then blowing your knee out as you cross home plate. You know? I mean, that's just terrible. Oh, I don't know how long he'll be out. No one has given any sort of timetable. It could be a work. I still think it could be a work, but maybe not. That sucks. But, I mean, I don't think it will be. It's a torn tricep. Tricep can heal. It's not like it's his neck or something. Again, could be a work. But if it was Edge's last match, that was a hell of a match to go out on, man. Really is. Now, I know you really want your last match to be in front of a crowd, because if that was in front of a crowd, man, oh, they would have been going nuts. It was so good, man. Like, just the way, how smart it was. Like, in the beginning, you know, Edge going for one too many arm drags, Randy getting a one-up on him. Edge going for a leapfrog or whatever it was, Randy getting the one-up on him. Oh, it was so good. Like, just little moments. Like, when Edge took the pedigree, after he kicked out, he rolled over, and he's checking his teeth. He's making his teeth, making sure his teeth is still in there, because he just got his fucking face slammed into the mat. He didn't jump up and then just hit 6 super kicks. I mean, these are professionals. These are absolute professionals. And I mean, you have to just go watch it. I could praise it all day. I really could. I could not have been happier with this match. I mean, there'll always be haters. There'll always be mongrels on the internet like, well, it wasn't that good. Like, shut the fuck up. That match was great. That match was great. And I know they did retakes, and I know it was taped, but I don't care. I mean, my God. In a span of 3 days, we got Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles and Randy Orton Edge, 2 match of the year candidates for WWE. Like, it's probably one of those two. I can't think of a better match this year. Maybe there has been, but nothing that pops into my head right now. Just great wrestling. You know, I actually saw somebody post something like, I don't know, what's the worst match you've seen this year? And I was just like, yo, not for nothing. In 2020, on television at least, how many bad matches do you really see? Not that many, honestly. Like, the worst match you're going to see is really just because, like, it's poorly booked, you know, and it's short or something like that. Everyone you see on TV can work, you know. Even the lowest level wrestlers in WWE, they can work. They can put on a solid match. Maybe not a great match, but a solid match. Dude, that was not the case always. That really, really was not. Like, go back to 1998. There were people who couldn't wrestle, but were on TV because they were gigantic or whatever, or super hot. So, yeah, we should just really appreciate the quality of wrestling on all TV, WWE, NXT, all that stuff. You know, I mean, I'm sure you can nitpick, as Randy Orton does, and he has every right to do because he's a goddamn legend. And I'll tell you, I'll agree with him. With some of the younger wrestlers, I'm a little more old school. I don't like spot, flip, spot, super kick. I like you to take your fucking time. I like you to fucking milk. I like you to sell. You gotta sell, brother. You gotta sell. That's where the money's at. And to me, that's one of the reasons AJ Styles is one of the best in the world, because he is a guy who can do anything in the ring, anything. But he knows when to do it and how to get maximum impact. He doesn't just do his flips. He doesn't just go from move to move. He knows when to get the biggest reaction. So here we go again. Swig of water for the working man. Gotta stay hydrated, kids. So I could not have been more pleased with that match. And then at the end of the match, Randy hits, and the punt is back, which I love. At least, for big moments. Randy hits him with the punt, pins him. Excellent. Great storytelling. Randy just fucking lays on top of him. He's like, go home, Edge. Go home, Adam. Go home to Beth. Go home to Lyric. He's a fucking serial killer. He's a psychopath. Edge laying there, devastated, like, fuck, man, he was right. So good. I mean, this Edge Randy Orton storyline has been one of the best things they've done in a long time. So the next night, we get my boy, old school weasel face Chirstian, Captain Charisma. I'm a big Chirstian guy. I always have been. And I watched way too much wrestling stat of the day for you. I was at Chirstian's last match in 2014 at Barclays Center in March, I believe it was. Fatal 4. Oh, yeah, you guys heard that. Fatal 4-way for the Intercontinental. Oh, God, sorry. If you smell. Fatal 4-way for the Intercontinental Championship at Barclays Center. I was there. No one knew it was his last match. So anyway, Chirstian comes out on Raw last night after Randy Orton's just like, I fucking murdered Edge, his whole thing. And basically Randy baits him into a match, an unsanctioned match all night. Chirstian's like, should I do it? Ric Flair showed up out of nowhere, who just looks so dirty and old. I love it. He's got like a long hair. He's got chains on. He's just so disgusting and old. I mean, who doesn't love Ric Flair? Go watch his documentary on the network about his last weekend in WWE in 2008. Fantastic. Wonderful. It's one of the strong suits of WWE, those network shows. Like, oh, they're all so good. Anyway, yeah. So basically, Chirstian accepts, despite everyone telling him, I don't know if you should do this. I mean, this wasn't a match. Chirstian didn't even take his clothes off because he couldn't. I saw he had a little belly popping. Chirstian had a little belly, little titty action going on. This kid was not ready to go. So Ric Flair comes out before the match, tries to talk Chirstian out of it again. Chirstian's really selling this good. Like, he's nervous. Like, this guy hasn't wrestled in 6 years. He's had concussion issues. He's in there with a fucking killer. A killer, Randy Orton. Someone he could barely fucking hang with 9 years ago when they had their incredible feud in Kayfabe. I'm speaking, of course. And Randy Orton's just apex right now. Apex predator to the T. He's once again the legend killer. Ric Flair comes out, low blows Chirstian. Randy hits the punt, bang, 1, 2, 3. And the way Randy did this, like a psychopath, like an absolute lunatic, switching back and forth between, I'm sorry, Chirstian, take care of him, don't hurt him. And then, this is your fault, you made me do this. I'm going to say something very, very controversial right now. People are going to turn this podcast off. Turn it off because they're haters. Randy Orton is the best professional wrestler in the world right now. He is. He's without a doubt the best character in the world right now. He is at the absolute top level of his game. And I don't care what you say. And I'll fight you. I will fight you. And it does make me interested to see where does this go now, because I'll just assume Edge really is hurt. Tore his tricep. I would assume, I don't think Chirstian's ready to get in the ring. If he was, you got to figure that's a couple months down the road. Do you keep Randy off TV? I don't know, man. I feel like he's the best thing you got going right now. And there's some good stuff. Like, I love Drew McIntyre and shit. Maybe that's where you go. Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre. But that feels like a real side quest for Randy. Like, I don't know. And he's kind of back to his legend killer thing, but there's no real legends to kill. It'd be funny if that's how Randy Orton gets defeated. Like, Randy, you're the legend killer, right? Like, that's right, I am. Aren't you a legend? And like Sparks, he's like, oh, it does not compute. Sparks starts shooting out of his ears. Fucking like how you take down a robot. Another swig of water for the working man.